bookings and a lot of other features that I know you will be interested in. Before we start, I want to thank you also my colleagues who are here with me today. So thank you, John. John is the product manager for the reservation squad here at Lodgify, and then Mark joining us as customer success specialist. So thank you guys for being here with me. They will be helping us during the question and answer session. And in particular, also John will be sharing some exciting news with you all during this meeting. For those of you who can't be here or can make it to the end, do not worry. This webinar is being recorded. And as usual, if you have already joined some of our previous episodes, the recording will be sent to you by email by the end of this week. Plus, it will be uploaded on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and search for Lodgify, you'll find our YouTube channel with a lot of other webinars as well from the marketing team as well. Plus, there's you will find all the recordings from the previous episodes of this series that is called Mastering Lodgify. And we will continue as well in the upcoming months with more webinars covering all of the other features here at Lodgify. All right, so this is how it will work. I will be showing you how, as I was saying, how to handle bookings in Lodgify. At the end of the session, there's going to be 15 minutes left so that we can answer all of your questions. We'll try to answer as many as we can. But in case we miss some, do not worry. We can send the answers to the questions we couldn't cover in the follow-up email as well, together with the recording. All right, so let's get started already. As I was saying, today we will be talking about how to handle bookings in Lodgify. And in particular, the topics we will be covering are the following: the reservation section, so how it looks like, and the information available in the reservation section, the difference and the definition of booking status versus quote status, the booking flow, so how a booking develops depending on the actions that you take, but also depending on a lot of other factors, such as the booking source, the payment method, and the booking setting that you chose. And then we will look into how to manage payments and refunds, even though I would recommend that you watch the previous episode of this series that you will find in Lodgify as well, called Policies and Payments, because we have covered in details payments and refund in that episode. All right, so let's get started. How does Lodgify reservation section look like? So this is how it presents itself. On the left, there's the reservation list with the preview of the booking. So you get the guest name, the booking status, the quote amount, the source as well. In this case, it's all Lodgify booking, but if you're connected to the channel manager, you'll also see the external platforms logos here. In the center of the page, there's the actual reservation details with the quote section. And if we scroll down, we can see the payment details as well and the security deposit. And then on the right side, the guest info and the messenger section specific to this booking, from which you can see and answer your guests' messages. As we were saying here, we will see the reservation list, so the entire list of bookings. We can also use a lot of different filters by clicking on this funnel icon here on top, and there's different filters available: the date, the booking source, booking status, and quote status that we will learn more about today. And you can also filter by rental. See, these are all the available filters. And then if we click on this little icon here at the bottom of the list, we will be able to download a booking report, which is a CSV file that includes the details of all of the bookings. So if you've used filters before downloading the booking report, the report will only include the bookings that meet the requirements of the filters. In the reservation, when we open a reservation, we will be able to see on top the reservation details here with the guest name, the status of the booking ID, creation date, booking source as well, the rental booked, the dates, and the payment status. the quote and with the policy and the payment info. So here you have the quote with the booking breakdown so that you can see all the items that are part of the booking cost, and then the policy assigned to the specific booking. As I was saying, if you want to know more about the policies in Lodgify, I recommend that you watch the previous episode of this series, which is called Policies and Payments. And then here in the payment collection card, the scheduled payment according to your payment policy, but also the actual payment, so the actual transactions. Next, we can see the security deposit section. So depending on what security deposit you have configured in the policy assigned to the rental, we will be able to see the specific information here in this section. Plus, you will also be able to perform a pre-authorization or void a pre-authorization, or also capture an amount in case there's any damages caused to your property. And then, as we were seeing before, the guest section, in which you can see the guest name, the email address, their contact details as well, their languages as well. So if you click on the pencil icon, you can also edit all of these details. And now I'm gonna pass the stage to John, because there's some exciting news he would like to share with you.
Yeah, just a quick teaser for folks here. On our guest details section. Can folks hear me now? Right. So a quick teaser for everybody. One of the sort of new features that will be coming up in the near future, so within the month, we are hoping to have a custom check-in and check-out time for our users. So now you will essentially be able to manually edit the check-in and check-out time for your bookings. And as you can see here, as a quick sort of teaser, in the edit guest section where you see the guest details, just like Adriana showed before, you will be able to edit it when you click on the top right button, and you will be able to manually sort of in the drop down choose the particular time they are checking in or checking out. Definitely helpful for a lot of you who have early check-ins or late check-ins or whatever the case may be. So hopefully something we can offer to you folks real soon. That's it.
Thank you, John. So I'm sure this is going to be very handy whenever you have an early check-in request or late checkout. You will be able to customize the check-in and checkout hours for that specific guest. Still, you will be able to configure your preferred check-in and checkout times. This is just specific to the booking in case you want to make some exceptions. All right, thank you. So in these next slides, we will learn the difference between booking status and quote status. They are interconnected, of course, but how are they interconnected? How does the quote status interfere with the booking status? So as we were saying, bookings are made of a booking status and a quote status. The booking status determines whether the calendar is closed or not. So when you're looking at a booking, the booking status is the one that shows right below the name of your guest. And it determines whether the calendar is being closed by that booking or not. Instead, the quote status indicates if there's any pending action to take to confirm the booking. So if the booking is not confirmed yet, that means there's still something that needs to be done, right? And that is indicated by the status of the quote. And we will learn as well today what are the different quote statuses and how to manage those. The booking status and the quote status are influenced by a lot of different factors. So whether you're accepting instant booking or booking request, that will have an impact on the quote status and the booking status as a consequence. If the guest pays by manual payments instead of paying by credit card, that will also have an impact on the quote status and on the booking status. So what are then these booking statuses? Open. Normally, you will receive an inquiry from a guest, right? A guest getting in touch with you to ask you something. Those inquiries will come into your Lodgify reservation section with open status. That means the calendar is not blocked. So inquiries, open status, they don't block the calendar. Tentative bookings are bookings that need an extra action in order to be confirmed. And this action is pending from the guest. It could be a payment, it could be a confirmation in case you're creating the booking manually from the account. And the tentative status will block the calendar for a limited period of time. So it doesn't permanently block the calendar, but it does close it for a limited period of time. And we will also learn how long the calendar is blocked or closed by a tentative booking. And then finally, a booked booking is a booking that has been confirmed on both sides. So by yourself, but also by your guests. The quote status, how does the quote status work with the booking status? So when you receive a booking request, so when you have chosen for your rental that you don't want to accept instant booking, you want to accept booking requests, and you can change that setting in the booking settings section of your rental. Whenever the guest submits a booking request through your website, the request will come into your account with a booking status that is open and a quote status that is pending for owner. Now, as we said previously, the open status means that the calendar is not blocked. Why is that? So that you can receive multiple booking requests for the same dates, different guests, and the same rental, of course, and choose which one you want to accept because the calendar is still open. The quote status is pending for owner because obviously if it's a booking request, that means that at that point it's time for you to choose whether you want to accept that request or reject that request. And until you take that action and make that decision, the status will be pending for owner. A tentative booking, as we said, is blocking the calendar temporarily. And we will find bookings in tentative status in two different circumstances. When in order for the booking to be confirmed, the guest must pay, and in that case, it will be pending for payment. Or also when you create a manual booking from your account, so it's you creating the booking, not the guest. At that point, you want the guest to accept the booking condition. While they do that, the status of the quote will be pending for guest. And finally, booked status, as we said, it's closing the calendar permanently, and that means that the quote has been agreed on by the guest as well. So booked always goes with agreed quote status. All right, now we're going to learn a little bit better about the booking flow. We are going to be covering, we're going to be using a real life example in which John is a guest interested in booking my rental. And I am the owner in this case, who is answering John's questions. All right, so John is planning his trip and needs some extra information before booking. So he contacts Adriana through the website. I love your property. Is it at a walking distance from the center? I am visiting some friends that live in the area. So normally guests will contact you because they have questions they would like you to answer before they actually move forward with the booking. This is just an example, but they could ask you if you accept pets, if you have a parking space for them, all sorts of questions. At that point, when John sends Adriana the message, an inquiry is created in Lodgify with open status, as we said before. And an inquiry doesn't have a quote yet. This is just a question. This is just the guest asking a question. So no price is involved yet, no policy is involved yet, all right? So that's why the inquiry has open status and no quote yet. And this is how it looks like. So on the left, this is how you will see the inquiry inside your Lodgify account, open status, no quote, the guest details. And then here, if you click on messages here, you will be able to read the actual question that your guest has asked you. All right, here. You also get notified by an email notification sent through Lodgify in case it's activated that you received a new inquiry. At that point, John finally decides to book. Okay, he's happy with the rental, so he wants to finalize the booking. At that point, Adriana, the vacation rental owner, can create the quote. Creating the quote means assigning the booking a price and a policy. And the quote is created in 3 different steps. In step number 1, Adriana or any vacation rental owner can choose the rental that we are creating the booking for, the dates, the number of guests. And as you can see, at this step, the system is already calculating the price of your booking based on your rates configuration. In the step number 2, which is about the price is calculated automatically. But of course, if you're creating the quote manually from the account, you can fully edit the quote. Editing the quote means you can add a promotion, you can change the room rate, you can change the fees, you can pretty much manipulate the final booking cost to whatever you want. And then in the last step, step number 3, you can choose whether you want to assign the policy a booking. You want to assign the booking a policy or not. What is the difference when you assign the policy or you don't assign the policy? If you assign the policy, of course, there's going to be a payment schedule associated. There's going to be cancellation terms. There's going to be a security deposit. And all of those settings that you have previously configured will trigger automation in the system. For example, if you want to collect the payment, the entire booking cost in more than one payment, the payment request will be sent automatically whenever it's the scheduled date. If the guest cancels and the guest is canceling within the cancellation terms, the system will automatically schedule the refund for you according to the cancellation policy. So this happens if you assign a policy to the booking. If you don't, any action will have to be taken manually from yourself. You have to manually send payment requests. You have to manually issue refunds in case of cancellation. So this is pretty much the difference. Activating the policy means triggering a workflow. Okay, at that point, Adriana has created the quote. John receives the quote by email. This is how the email looks like. As you can see in the email, there's a confirmation link. The guest clicks on the confirmation link and they are taken to the checkout page of your Lodgify website, from where they can finalize the booking. How do they finalize the booking? By paying, or it depends on your payment schedule, but normally, like most of the payment schedules, will have a percentage of the final booking cost to be paid at the time of booking. Once the guest pays, the booking is confirmed. But in this step, while the guest hasn't confirmed the booking yet, the status of the booking will, of course, be tentative. That means it is blocking the calendar, but the quote status is pending for guest. The guest must confirm. And this is how it would look like. So tentative, pending for guest. Here you can see for how long the calendar will be blocked by this tentative booking. So how long the guest has to actually complete the pending action. And we will learn where to configure this time later. All right, as we were saying, now let's imagine that John has clicked on the confirmation link. At this point, John is agreeing or agrees to the quote that Adriana has generated and to the policy assigned to the booking. To confirm the booking, John in this case will have to pay. In the first scenario, if John pays by manual payments can be a bank transfer, can be in cash, in arrival, it can be a check, whatever payment method is not processed through your Lodgify account, so through your Lodgify system, through the Lodgify system. If John pays by manual payments, the status of the booking will still be tentative, so closing the calendar temporarily, but the quote status will be pending for payment. Why? Because Lodgify at that point is unable to track that payment. It is unable to record that payment automatically. So pending for payment requires an action on your side in this case, even though conceptually is the guest that is pending to pay, right? But if you have received the bank transfer, since Lodgify can't update the status of the payment automatically for manual payments, you will want to change the status of the quote from pending for payment to agreed by confirming that you have received the payment. If you want to know how you can mark a payment as paid, We will briefly cover it today, but again, you can refer to the previous episode of Mastering Lodgify series about policies and payments. So this is the first scenario. In this scenario, John is paying by manual payments. But what if John pays by credit card or PayPal? So payment method that Lodgify is able to actually track, and payments that are processed through the integration that Lodgify has to the payment gateways and to PayPal. At that point, as soon as the payment is successfully completed, the status of the booking will automatically change from tentative to booked, and the status of the quote will change from pending for payment to agreed. Okay, so at this point, John and Adriana both agreed to the booking. The booking is confirmed. The booking will be blocking the calendar permanently unless it gets cancelled. In the next scenario, John is not inquiring, but instead John is submitting a booking request. That means that John is interested in the rental. John wants to book the rental. However, John must wait for Adriana to accept the booking request. So John wants to book the rental. He agrees to the price and policy visible on the website and submits a booking request. So this is the main difference between a booking request and an inquiry. If the guest is inquiry, the guest can't really see the policy and also the full detailed booking cost breakdown in the website. Instead, if they're submitting a booking request because you configured booking request for your rental, that means that the guest is able to see the entire breakdown of the booking cost plus the policy that will be assigned to that booking, so payment schedule, cancellation terms, security deposit, etc. And that means that when John submits the booking request, John is agreeing to both price and policy. So at that point, Adriana receives a new entry in the reservation section. This entry will have booking status open and quote status pending for owner. Open because, as we said earlier, this allows Adriana to receive multiple booking requests for the same dates and the same rental, and then they get to choose which one they want to accept. And pending for owner, because of course, Adriana at this point must accept or reject the booking request. How long does Adriana have to accept or reject the booking request? 7 days. It's always 7 days. So whenever you receive a booking request, you always have 7 days to take an action on it. If you don't, after 7 days, the quote status will change from pending for owner to expired by owner. You can still reactivate the booking request by sending a quote. At that point, the flow will go back to what we were looking at right before, right? You send the quote to the guest, so the guest is to confirm, and to confirm the booking, they finally have to pay. Okay, but by default, you have 7 days to take an action on the booking request. And this is how it looks like. So in this small banner that I don't know if you can see very well, you will see 2 different buttons, reject or accept. So depending on what you click on, of course, the status of the booking request will change. But for now, it's open and pending for owner. So if Adriana decides to reject the request, the booking status will change to declined and the quote status will change to rejected. This is how it will look like. So the booking status will be declined and the quote status will be rejected. At that point, you can no longer do anything with this booking. You cannot reactivate it. You will have to start from scratch, either yourself by creating a manual booking, or the guest will have to submit a new request. But if Adriana decides to accept the request, the booking status will be tentative and the quote status will be pending for payment. At this, once I decide to accept the booking, so I, as in the vacation rental owner, decide to accept the booking request, in order for the booking to be confirmed, I still need the guest to pay, right? So at this point, the guest receives a payment request by email. Once again, this payment request includes a link to the checkout page. They are redirected to the checkout page and they can complete the payment. And from now on, everything works just like in the previous scenario. If they pay by bank transfer, the status of the quote will remain pending for payment until you mark that payment as paid. If they pay by credit card or PayPal, the status will change to agreed and booked automatically. And with instant booking, so when you have selected instant booking, so when you have configured instant booking for your rental, the flow will be much shorter because John checks the website, he likes the rental, he's interested in booking, he gets to the checkout page, he finalizes the booking, he pays by credit card or PayPal. And at that point, the status of the booking will automatically be booked and agreed. That means it enters the account with these statuses, booked and agreed, because John has already confirmed booking by paying. Okay, what happens now that we have our confirmed booking? What happens if we have to apply some modification to the booking? So John contacts Adriana to extend his stay. Adriana decides to offer John a discount for the additional nights. How can we perform those actions in Lodgify? To edit the booking, so Adriana in this case will have to get to the quote section of the booking in Lodgify, click on the 3 little dots on the top right corner and select Guest Makes Change Request. This will take us back to those 3 steps we saw at the beginning. So for step number 1, rental, dates, and number of guests. Step number 2, price, and step number 3, policy. In this case, John is asked to extend the stay, so we have to modify the dates of the booking. But also, Adriana has decided to offer John a promotion. So we have to change the dates and we have to change the price of the booking. In the step number 1, I can change the dates of the booking. So I can select the new dates, new check-in and new check-out, or just add 2 extra nights, or also make the stay shorter if the guest requests to make it shorter. And in step number 2, as we saw earlier, we can work on the price by adding a promotion in this example, but we could also be adding, I don't know, an extra fee or an extra tax. Of course, the system, whenever you apply a change to the dates, but also to the rental, for example, if you want to change the rental, the system will automatically recalculate the price of the booking based on the current settings. So if it's 2 extra nights, it will add the price of 2 extra nights to the price of the booking. If it's a different rental, it will be recalculating the price of the stay based on the rates of that rental, etc., etc. Keep in mind that whatever the system calculates automatically can always be modified in step number 2. Next action we want to take on that booking, unfortunately, we want to see how to cancel that booking. So John can't come anymore and he requests the cancellation. Before we look at how to cancel the booking, I just wanted to remind you that in Lodgify, the guest can't really cancel the booking. They can request the cancellation, but there's no way for them to actually change the status of a booking from confirmed to cancel. Therefore, to cancel the booking, you will have to do it from your Lodgify account yourself. So John contacts Adriana asking how he can cancel the booking. Unfortunately, he won't be able to travel. To cancel the booking, once again, we will have to go to the quote section of the booking itself in Lodgify in your reservation section. We click on the agreed quote status, and this will give us 2 different options: cancel and refund all payments and guest cancels. Of course, if you select owner cancels, which is the first option, that means you're going against your own rules. You are canceling the booking, not the guest. That means that the system will want you to refund the entire amount to the guest. They have paid, of course. If it's the guest canceling, then in that case, the system will behave in accordance with the cancellation policy. So in our example, John has canceled within the cancellation period. So John, he's entitled to receive a refund. Whenever the guest should get a refund as per cancellation policy, in the payment collection section of the booking, you will see something like this: the refund has been scheduled and it's overdue. That means you have to issue the refund. If the guest is paid by credit card, or you can issue the refund directly from Lodgify. You can also automate the entire process. Once again, everything about this has been mentioned during the previous episode of this series. But if the guest is paid by manual payments or PayPal, you will take care of the refund externally, and then you will be able to mark it as refunded here. All right. But the refund is scheduled. Why? Because the guest is canceled within the cancellation policy terms. Let's take a closer look at how to manage payments and refunds, okay? Let's see different scenarios so that we can understand a little bit better what happens whenever, for example, a quote is changed to a lower price than the original one. So, in regards to how Lodgify will collect payments for your bookings, that is determined, as we said, by the payment schedule configured in the policy assigned to the booking. The first payment will always be collected at the time of booking. So whenever the guest is booking on the website, they will be able to complete the first payment. The subsequent payments, that can be one or two, depending on how you configured your policy, will be requested by email on the scheduled date. So if the payment should be collected on May 15th, on May 15th, the system will send an automatic notification to request the payment to the guest. Also, there is an extra automatic notification that is sent 3 days before the scheduled date. You have to activate it. I mean, it's activated by default. It will only be sent if activated. If you deactivate it, it won't be sent. The payment request instead on the scheduled date is activated by default and can't be deactivated. Otherwise, you won't be able to collect the subsequent payments if you can send the request to your guests. As for refunds, once again, as we just saw, refunds can be managed from the payment collection section of the account, and there can be different scenarios. Let's imagine that the guest is canceled, and the guest cancels within the cancellation policy terms. So the guest should get a refund. As we just saw, the system will automatically schedule the refund based on whatever cancellation policy is assigned to the booking. Okay, so it will look like this. Whenever you see it like this, refund schedule overdue, that means that the guest hasn't been refunded. So either you take care of the refund externally and then you mark it as refunded in Lodgify, or for credit card payments, you refund directly from here by clicking on this plus icon. The status will remain the same. But what if John cancels? John shouldn't get a refund, but you have a special agreement with him, or I don't know, you just want to make an exception for a specific guest. You are basically refunding against your cancellation policy. The refund can be handled like any other refund. If it's credit card, can be refunded from here. If it's manual payments or PayPal, refund externally and then mark as refunded here. The only difference is that canceling against policy will change the balance due, because for this system, it feels like John still owes you money, right? Because John canceled and John shouldn't get any refund. Now we've issued the refund, which brings the balance due in our favor once again, as if John still has to pay this amount. But you can still do that if you want to. But what if we want to issue a refund without canceling the booking? Maybe you have changed the quote of the booking. Maybe the stay now is shorter than it originally was, or it's less guests. So I don't know, if you have an occupancy fee configured for your rental, so that fee should no longer apply. Or the guest has purchased an add-on, but last minute they decide that they don't need that add-on anymore. Whatever modification you apply to the quote of the booking that makes the booking price lower than it was originally, be sure to cancel it in the step number two of the quote creation. So after applying the changes that you wish to apply to the booking, you will see something like this. This means, okay, the new booking price is lower than the original one, and this is the difference. So be sure to cancel that item so that, once again, the system will alert you, will say, hey, look, there's a refund due to this guest because this guest has paid more than the booking price. And in this case, the balance due is negative because it's in favor of the guest. You owe the guest this amount. And once again, if you want to refund the guest, always from here, depending on the payment method, you will be able to do it from here or not. But if there is no quote adjustment, so you don't change the quote, you just choose that you want to, I don't know, offer a discount to the guest without changing the quote, or for whatever other reason you don't want to change the price of the booking, the refund is handled as always. Once again, here issue refund if credit card or externally, and then mark it as refunded. But of course, the balance due in this case will once again be in your favor. Why? Because it feels to the system that the guest still owes you part of the booking price because you have refunded that amount. Okay? All right, so we have gathered a couple of frequently asked questions that we received from our customers. So I will show them to you right now, and then we can move on to the question and answer session. So how long will the quote status will be pending for guests or pending for payment? So the example that I showed you before, how much time the guest has to complete the pending action, whether it's the confirmation or the payment. It depends on the quote expiry time set in the policy. So whenever you're configuring the policy, here you will be able to decide how long the status of the quote should be pending for that specific action. In this example, it's 48 hours. That means the guest has 2 days to complete that action. It could be 3 days, it could be a week, it could be even less than 48 hours. That is up to you. So if you want to change that, go to the policy section of your account, identify your policy, and then change the quote expiry time there. And next question is there a way to collect all guests' contact details to send out campaigns? Yes, you can download the booking report to get a list of all guests' email addresses and phone numbers. So as we saw at the beginning of the session, you click on this icon here at the bottom. This will download the CSV booking report, so a CSV file. And here there's a column for email and phone numbers where you can collect all of the contact details of your guests. Okay, so this is an easy way to have like an address book with all the guest contact information handy whenever you need it. And before we move on to the Q&A session, I want to give once again the mic to John so that he can share with you the second exciting news of today.
Yeah, thanks, Adriana. So as Adriana just showed you in the slide before, there is sort of a quick workaround, but we are actually looking to create something a little bit more robust and actually have a feature within our platform, which would be a guest CRM. So this would essentially have the ability to store a lot of the contact details you have from your guests, store their booking history, and have the ability for you folks to really sort of add any kind of notes, insights, requests, preferences that your guests might have, with the idea that in future iterations, we'll be able to use this as a full-fledged CRM to communicate with your guests straight from Lodgify. So this is a big request from you folks, something we're hoping to get out the door before the end of the year for everyone to use within Lodgify.
Thanks, John. I'm sure that many of you will be happy when this will be released, because I know that this for sure it has been very, very, very requested throughout time. Okay, so at this point, I would say we can jump onto the Q&A, so question and answer session. John and Mark will be helping me. I see already a lot of questions here in the section, so let's take a look. So Tatiana is asking, is there a plan to create a system to save guest contact information? I think that what John just said answers this question. So yes, there is, and the plan is to have it by the end of the year, if I got it correctly. Are you going to add Google Vacation Rental to the reservation filter? Maybe John?
Yes, we plan to. Yeah. So currently, as one of the sources, we have Google Vacation Rentals, and currently in the reservation filters, we don't have GVR there, but we are adding it ASAP. So your eyes peeled for that.
Thanks. Love to know what is the more preferred website to sync with. We sync with Airbnb, Booking, and we use VRBO on iCal. Well, definitely since Robert already mentioned it, Google Vacation Rental, will definitely be beneficial because that means you get more direct bookings. So bookings through the website, Airbnb and Booking, great. VRBO as well. We also have the API connection to VRBO. Same connection that we have with Airbnb and Booking.com, and then Expedia. We also integrate to Expedia. How to boost my reservations in Airbnb and VRBO? I only receive bookings from Booking.com. Maybe we can cover that. Sorry, Dimitris. Maybe we can cover that in one of the upcoming webinars about the channel manager specifically, so that we can focus on Lodgify bookings today. But we'll definitely follow up on that one in the upcoming webinars. Integration with Lodgify, so type of guest is accurate. It says 8 adults, but when I go to VRBO, it's actually 4 adults, 4 kids. That is because we in Lodgify currently doesn't support any this difference between adult and children. So that is why we can't import that info from VRBO, because Lodgify doesn't read that info. But it's definitely a great feedback for the connectivity squad here at Lodgify, or in general for the reservation squad as well. Sorry?
I'll just say on the adults and the children's thing, it's something we are working on. So can't tell you when, but we are working on it.
Beautiful. That's great to hear. Could room rate actually give a breakdown of the price per day instead of the total cost of all the days combined? It is visible now in the checkout page, I think, not in the quote breakdown inside the account. So I don't know if there's any plan on that in our roadmap, but definitely a valid one. Feel free to submit your feedback to the roadmap.logify.com so that our team receives it and can consider it. How would the custom check-in and check-out work if we list our times on site? I think it's just, as we were saying, customization for specific reservation. Maybe John, correct me if I'm wrong, but those...
Yeah, it's not going to override or do anything that you already set for your either direct website or in your settings or your policies or anything like that. It's just on a per booking basis, so you can change it as you need. So yeah, you should, if you have something listed on your website, you only just change it if you need to. It's not going to override anything. So you can manually do it and keep it consistent with your own policies and your own rates and your own check-in times, no problem.
Thanks. Yeah. Maybe Mark, you want to take next one?
All right, yes. So can we set an automatic fee for early, late check-in or checkout? Not an automatic one, but we can add add-ons to the rental that a guest can choose on the checkout process according to their situation, if they do want to have an early check-in or a late checkout in their case, with the according prices.
Thank you. Also remember that even though this cannot be automatically added, it can always be added afterwards. So by using the guest makes change request, so that option that we saw before, you can definitely add like an extra price or an extra fee. In this case, it can be a fee to the price of the booking, and that will be added to the pending payments, if any, or you can send a new payment request for that specific amount. How does manual booking work if you have an instant booking you want to update? If you have an instant booking you want to update. Kelly, I'm not sure I fully understand the question. When you create, manual booking, it's not an instant booking and it's not a booking request, right? It's a booking that you create yourself. So you create the manual booking from the account, you configure the rental, so you select the rental, the dates, the number of guests, the price, etc., etc. And then at that point, a quote is sent to the guest, and in order for the guest to confirm the booking, they simply have to pay. So this is how it will work with manual booking, but let me know if maybe I didn't answer the question 100%, and we'll get back to it. If the booking status is tentative, will the calendar be blocked on multiple platforms? Yes. Airbnb and VRBO. Yes. Tentative bookings block, whatever block you have in Lodgify will be reflected on the external channels, be it a manual booking, website booking, an iCal import, closed period. Anything that is blocking your Lodgify calendar will block your connected channels as well. I'm just here to say I'd love to read receipts added to the app. I'd like to know when my guests have seen the messages sent. Maybe we can, once again, I encourage you to share the feedback to our roadmap. So roadmap.lodgify.com. But definitely we can bring that up in the one of the upcoming webinars that I don't know exactly when it will be, but it will be about the messaging section. So definitely worth sharing these in that specific session. Is there a way for a guest to send an inquiry through the property booking page, Lodgify website, when instant bookings are activated? Yes. In your Lodgify website, you have a contact page with a contact form. Guests that use that contact form will basically be sending you an inquiry. It's not a booking, it's just a question, and therefore it's unrelated from the booking setting that you have chosen for the rental, whether booking request or instant booking. Mark, you want to take that one?
Yes. So yeah, you can indeed edit the tentative booking. The quote of the tentative booking can be edited in the same way as any type of booking. So you can make a change to the quote, adding the promotion for that discount, and send a new quote to the guest for the payment.
That's right. So yes, tentative, but while the booking is tentative, you can change anything, the price, the rental. Actually, you can do that on a booked booking as well. So yes, you can. Jess is asking, can you refund a cleaning fee instead of a promotion? You can refund, you cannot refund an item specifically, but you can refund the corresponding amount. So the cleaning fee is 100, you can issue a refund for 100. The cleaning fee is, I don't know, 50, you issue a refund of 50. Whenever you're issuing a refund that is against, let's say, or outside of the quote adjustment or the cancellation policy, you have two options, actually. You can either remove the cleaning fee, in your example, from the quote completely, and then the system will automatically schedule the refund for you. Or if you don't want to remove the cleaning fee, you want to keep it in the quote, you can manually issue the refund and select the amount that you want to refund. In that case, it could be the exact same amount that corresponds to that item that you want to refund. We need, suggestion, Carrie. We need the ability to apply a discount after it has been fully paid and the refund be executed automatically with the credit card processor. Right now, I have to do it manually in Stripe, and the transaction in Lodgify no longer reflects the correct amount of the reservation. So refund can be issued through Lodgify after the booking has been fully paid, it can only be automatically refunded under with it has to meet two different requirements. The first one, there must be a cancellation and the guest must be eligible for refund. Other than that, the system will never schedule a refund unless you change the quote and the new quote is lower than the original one. The second requirement is that you should activate automatic refunds for your Stripe. So from the payment section of your Lodgify account, click on the pencil icon you see inside the Stripe box, let's say, and activate automatic refund. That means that whenever a guest cancels and they should receive a refund and they paid by credit card, then the guest will automatically receive it. But also, if you change the quote and the quote is lower than the original one, the refund will be scheduled and issued automatically if the guest paid by credit card. So these are the two conditions for automatic refunds to actually happen in Lodgify. Mark, do you want to go?
Yes, you can still edit the code while the person is in the rental.
Yes, so booking can be modified even after the stay if you want to. So throughout the entire stay, before the stay, after the stay, you always get the option to edit a booking. Both Booking.com and Airbnb have the option to make a discount if the user doesn't want cancellation. So the guest sees two prices with cancellation and without cancellation. Is that something you are having in mind? The difference I think is that in Airbnb and Booking.com, the guest can actually take action on the booking. In Lodgify, the guest books and then receives the booking detail. Everything is shared with the guest via email. All right, so the guest doesn't really have access to any portal like they do in Airbnb and Booking.com. They cannot cancel the booking themselves. They cannot change the booking themselves. So this is the reason why this is currently not possible, because the guest would instead contact you and ask you what would be the price if, or is there any option to get a discount instead of cancellation. So the guest would always have to reach out to you to get an answer. So that's the main difference, let's say, between us and Booking.com and Airbnb, or in general online travel agencies, that the guest actually has the ability to perform specific actions on the OTA, while in our case, they complete the booking and then anything after the booking is confirmed will go through you. Also, I get email notification. The guest sent me a question. Lodgify does not show me the message syncing schedule. Maybe. So I reply on the STR platform and the conversation does not get posted on Lodgify. Any solution for this one? I don't know if you're referring to any external channels. You do get a notification whenever the guest inquires. So there's an email notification sent to yourself, and there's an email notification sent to the guest as well to inform them that their inquiry has been submitted. If you're talking about OTAs, the messaging integration with the OTAs we have an API connection to works slightly differently. We will be covering that during the upcoming webinars that are about the channel manager. They will also include info on how to use the messaging integration. Will the refund be less the fees that we pay to use credit card? I would say, but maybe John, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that in general, no. But it would be better to double check with each specific gateway. Common practice is that they don't refund the fees, the transaction fees, but if you want to be 100% sure, maybe this is better to check with Stripe, with Authorize.net, or Braintree, or whatever gateway that you're using, because we don't want to share incorrect information. Maybe they do. So I would suggest you double check with them as well.
But in general, yeah, you were correct, Adriana. We do not refund any kind of fees.
So to your listing in Airbnb and VRBO. Once again, this will be covered in the upcoming webinars. Just a little sneak peek of one of the next ones that we will be having about VRBO. VRBO bookings are managed like Lodgify booking. So whatever you can do on a Lodgify booking, you can do it for a VRBO booking as well, and from Lodgify. So cancellation, modification, refunds, payment, etc. For Airbnb, no. Airbnb, you have to manage anything that's related to payments in Airbnb. So can't change the quote from Lodgify, can't refund from Lodgify. No, everything is managed in Airbnb. Why do I need to send a check to the guest if a booking is cancelled 6+ months after the reservation was made? You don't need to send a check if the booking, if the booking is cancelled after the reservation was made. That still depends on the cancellation policy. So if it's cancelled within the cancellation policy terms, then you will want to refund your guest with whatever payment method works best for you. If the booking is cancelled outside of the cancellation policy terms, there's no need to send any refund. Is there an app for Apple iPhone so I could view Lodgify easily, or do I need to log into a website? No, we do have an app. It's called Lodgify. It's available for iOS and Androids, so definitely. And all of these actions can be taken from the app as well. So yes, the name of the app is just Lodgify. Okay, I think we can cover maybe a couple more, and then we will close this session. And as we said, any questions we couldn't cover today will be answered in the follow-up email. Will the CRM allow an alert if, for example, we get an inquiry that we don't have a match for, but at a later date at a new property, so we can recontact the guest? I don't know if it's too early, maybe, but maybe John.
Yeah, I won't commit to it, but I will say that we'll essentially have the ability to manually add any kind of guest or inquiries. So if you had an inquiry but didn't actually have a booking, you still could add the contact details to the CRM and use it later. So in essence, yes, we'll have an ability, but not the alert that I think you're asking for here.
Thank you, John. All right. I think we already answered the next one. Does editing quotes apply to your direct bookings only, or also to your listing in Airbnb and VRBO? Yeah, I think we already covered that. So VRBO, yes. Airbnb, no. Why don't we get a notification when a booking is cancelled in the mobile app? We get an email, so it is clear Lodgify is aware that the cancellation occurred, but that doesn't trigger an application notification. Same for the property owners. They are not aware of the cancellation occurred. Again, that would be an amazing feedback that you can submit through the Lodgify roadmap page, roadmap.lodgify.com, so that the product manager that is in charge of the mobile app can receive it, look into it, and consider for future improvements. All right, so I would close the session here. Thank you very much for all these questions. Before I let you go, I also wanted to share with you that we will be running another webinar next week. In this case, it will be from our marketing department. It's going to be next Thursday, and it will be about how to build guest loyalty and secure repeat bookings. So they will be sharing a lot of useful insights on the topic next week in that webinar. So if Mark, can you please send the link to register in the chat so that whoever is interested can participate to that one as well. Once again, next Thursday, April 11th, same time as today. All right. And with that said, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you so much for participating and for asking a lot of questions. Thank you to my colleagues as well, Mark and John. Thank you, John, for sharing these exciting news on the upcoming features and for answering the questions. And thank you, Mark, as well, for helping us during the Q&A. I will see you in the next one. Once again, you'll find the recording of the previous webinars, and including this one, on our YouTube channel. And this specific recording will be emailed to you by the end of the week. And I also encourage you to stay tuned for the upcoming ones that we will be organizing, because next on should be about the channel manager. So if you're interested in learning about the channel manager a little bit more, stay tuned for the upcoming webinars as well. All right. So thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great day and see you in the next one. Bye.